Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're back at it again with another edition of the Young King Podcast. I'm here with my host,
Kev Matt.
and my other host.
It's your boy, the Heartbreak Killer, Cam Santana.
All right, and as you guys know, it's me, Just B. So today we're going to talk about who has impacted pop culture more. Would that be the NWO or D-Generation X? I'm going to let my guy, Kev Mack, take it off.
Well, listen, both groups are, all-time great factions. Me personally, DX is my favorite faction of all time, and I think they were the better faction than NWO. But when you think of who impacted pop culture more and the wrestling business, you got to go with NWO. Because, at the time, when Hulk Hogan turned heel, that changed the whole landscape of pro wrestling. Because nobody seen that coming. He was the top babyface for, probably a decade by then. So when NWO popped on the scene, it was like a breath of fresh air for the business. And it kind of took all that, phony kiddie stuff, that WWF was doing, and they kind of turned it around and made it more real, for the audience, for the more adult audience. So then you couldn't go anywhere without seeing the NWO shirt. You know what I'm saying? And NWO was really the biggest part of why WCW was beating WWF, in the rating war for, 83 weeks, I believe. So when you think about the impact NWO had, you can't beat it. And DX was great, but if you really want to be honest, DX was a product of NWO. You can't tell me, Shawn and Triple H was looking at their friends like, man, we gotta come together and, make a group like that. Because NWO was, by the time DX was made, NWO was already growing strong. Now, don't get me wrong, they did overdo it, added too many members, and it ended up failing, But the original NWO, that impact was huge on the wrestling business. And it changed everything. So, I got to go with NWO on that.
All right, fair points.
All right, y'all know me. My two favorite wrestlers of all time are, of course, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So, of course, I'm going to say DX. Another thing is, like you said, NWO changed the landscape. NWO is the reason the Attitude Era started.
Yeah.
I would say the NWO started doing this more reality stuff, this cutting edge. It was something different. While Vince McMahon was still doing the whole cartoon characters and doing these weak gimmicks, you had NWO coming with real life stuff.
Right.
You had two big stars at the time that could have got a lot of money from Vince. That could have been main event players. Jump ship to WCW. So it's like, is this a shoot or is this real? Like, are they here invading or are they actually signed here?
Yeah.
So that has changed the landscape. Then you said Hogan turning heel. It was really supposed to be Sting, and I'm glad it wasn't Sting because I don't think it would have worked.
It wouldn't have been the same.
But with Hogan doing it,
Absolutely.
it would have been good. But like you said, Shawn Michaels already was on edge, so it made him get even more cutting edge. And Triple H was basically around Shawn Michaels' coattails, so they both was in each other's ear trying to figure out what to do. It became degenerates, and then the Generation X started, and they started doing a lot of stuff where people that was already WWE fans was like, all right, now this is what's up. Then they added China to the picture. So you talking about Hall, Nash, Hogan, you got China, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. So as far as that going, like they started making the WWE, then you got Austin coming up with this, all the people coming around them. They made everybody around them better. NWO was, like you said, adding unnecessary members. What the hell is Virgil? What the hell y'all be doing NWO for? Or Vincent and all them other people, like what are they doing? And then you got people like Shawn Michaels, it was just them three, Robinson, Rick Rude, and then he jumped shit to go to the NWO.
Yeah.
So you were just on Raw and Nitro, like, with a beard and then you shave. What's going on? You feel me? But yeah, as far as like the culture was going hard off DX. DX was probably, NWO was probably number one merchandise sale.
Yeah.
But right next to them was DX. And then Austin stuff. So it was like everybody was going for that cutting edge stuff. So with DX coming out and they doing everything, Shawn get hurt. Triple H come in, probably dropped one of the biggest pipe bomb promos ever.
Yeah.
You dropped the ball, I went to my blood, brought Xbox back. And then later that night, you got the Outlaws coming out, jumping Mick Foley off the stage with a trash can. Then they jump in DX, and DX going even stronger and going even crazier than you got.
I still think the original DX is the best.
Oh, of course it is. But I'm saying they didn't have much time, so they had to figure out what to do with it.
Right.
And what they did with it was
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
it to
it was
pop.
great. Yeah,
That made it go even
I
more
still
hard to
love
pop
that
culture.
version.
They started adding hip hop to their stuff. They started doing all types of cutting edge more stuff. And you got girls in the crowd flashing them and shit. They was really doing everything. They was doing stuff, and then DX merchandise everywhere.
Yeah.
Like this before the glow sticks and all that other stuff we had in our era. Just back then when they just break it down, they coming out in big pops and everything like that. NWO was getting pay-per-views and NWO Nitro and all that other stuff, and they was bringing in. One thing I can say, they was bringing in basketball players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dennis Rodman and
NWO drew money.
they drew money,
Drew
but
money.
they was giving out that money.
Yeah.
And DX was doing stuff too, but they was doing a lot of more.
And they were heels and people didn't care.
And that's what it was. And DX was more face at the time. And
Tyson was in DX too, right?
yeah, Mike Tyson came in, so
Yeah, well,
it was like
he
a
had
draw.
a shirt, but
It was like a draw for Bill for Mania because he was there.
yeah, yeah.
But still,
But
It was associated with
Yes,
the whole
the-
generation.
But I don't know if they did it for him to pretend, because at the end he fast counted Sean.
and then turned on him. Yeah.
Turned on him, so it was probably
It was like a work thing, but it's
Yeah.
still when they brought him in, they brought him in as an honorary member of DX.
right. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So he was in there for the build mania. So, but yeah, pop culture man, DX. How many? We all probably say we either had detention or got suspended for walking around school hitting the
Crotch
chops,
chops.
the crop chops. Like you feel me?
So we could say DX benefited from the WWF product ascending, whereas NWO, lacked because WCW eventually started, declining.
Yes,
So
because
we got tired of seeing NWO.
because they was running along
And
too
then you
long.
did the Wolfpack, which I like the Wolfpack.
I love the pack.
But then you did that whole storyline.
You
which
got
was-
NWO Elite, the NWO 2000. You
It
just
was
kept
too
too
much.
much. You kept
It was
NWO
too
this,
much.
NWO that. You went from black and white to Wolfpack, red and black to Elite
Yeah.
to 2000
And they
NWO.
should have kept it just probably those
So what
three,
you got?
and maybe Savage.
You got what? Jeff Jarrett, Vince Russo, and Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
NWO. What the hell is that?
They just was riding it too
They're
long.
riding too long. But as far as pop culture in the 80s or not 80s, the 90s, late 90s, DX was popping.
Yeah.
NWO was popping, but DX was popping. DX was popping. I'm talking about mainstream media. Well, so was NWO, but it was something that just DX had the cutting edge more than NWO, in my opinion. They was rocking the house, doing everything they could do to make that just that three people group because China was
I have a
there.
question for you too. Who do you all think's impact is still felt today on the highest level? D-Generation X or NWO?
DX.
I have to say NWO. I mean, you see everybody doing this.
Yeah.
That's true.
Too sweet.
It went from the Click to the
And
NWO to the Bullet Club.
I mean, you see more NWO shirts or DX shirts?
Ooh, it's a lot. It's both. I can say both. I mean, I was in a bowling alley one time, and the guy was with me, and he saw my Wolfpack shirt. He said, "Oh, he gave it to me." It was an older white guy. He's like, "Oh, Scott Hall's my guy. Scott Hall's my guy."
Because they know, and you didn't even have to be a fan,
Mhm.
but you knew,
So he was the guy that was watching when he's probably, like I said, we're 27, so he was probably maybe in his 40s, but he was our age when that stuff was happening.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, I'm growing up drinking beer with my
And
buddies,
at
drinking
the
liquor, watching
time,
these guys do this."
Like I said, Hogan was an icon. Nash was a former WWF champion. And Scott Hall, he had a great career in WWF. So you just had three of the top guys just come together and create this super group. And then, you have Macho Man, at it, which is probably where they should have cut off, with adding members to the group, and of course Bischoff. But yeah, man, I gotta go NWO, man.
And I would say, see, NWO seemed to be so big that it literally took over WCW. Whereas DX was a special attraction of Monday Night Raw.
Mhm.
So that's something else. That's
Because Raw, WWF had so much. Because
Yeah.
Austin 316 was driving that bus,
Right.
but you still had The Rock, and you still had DX. So
The DX were like the tires,
with
Kept it
WCW,
rolling.
Yeah.
with WCW was NWO. You had your Goldbergs and you had your Stings.
But it all trickled back to the
They
NWO.
all
We did
center around
WCW, we did NWO. Like,
Yeah.
even they was promoting the Nintendo 64 video game.
Yeah,
It said
NWO
WCW/NWO Revenge.
Well,
That's the
NWO
title of
was
the
supposed to
game.
be NWO was supposed to take over Nitro.
Yeah. And start
And
off their own.
WCW is supposed to move over to Thunder. You know, they end up killing that.
Because it was another show, and these guys wanted more money, so they want to be on both. They took
Right,
over.
yeah.
I want to be on Raw, I want to be on Nitro, and I want to be on Thursday Thunder. And they was that was Thunder's supposed to be like a development for new guys.
And at
Right.
the
But
same
NWO was
time,
taking it over, and they was trying to do too much at once.
Yeah, and you can say at the same time the NWO in their vast popularity in some ways did kill WCW.
Mhm.
They were so big and so giant that
Their egos got in the way.
the egos
Or
got in the way and
inmates
they
start
triumphed.
running the
Yeah,
asylum.
Yep.
they were too.
You know, you give, Nash had, he did a lot of the booking. Hogan's contract, he had creative control. So, if Hogan didn't want to wrestle that night,
He wasn't.
He didn't
If he
have
didn't
to.
want to lose, he
he
wasn't.
didn't have to.
So does the fall of WCW leave a bad taste in the mouth of the NWO faction?
Absolutely.
Because can we say like, yes, this did birth power into WCW, but at the same time it drained its life.
What made you strong also killed you.
Yeah. It doesn't help that, Vince bought WCW. So, he's going to always downplay it like.
Right, it'll never get the historical legacy that the Generation X will get.
Oh no, absolutely. But like that's Vince thing.
History written by the victor.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, NWO changed the world of professional wrestling. That's a fact. I will say that they changed the whole world of professional wrestling. What 96, 97?
Yeah.
So it's like
and it's tough because this is the NWO in some ways is the father of DX. There is no DX without NWO.
Yeah. Because,
Because
both
wrestling
members.
had to get
are-
edgier because of NWO.
And both
Yeah.
members are a product from the clique. So,
Exactly.
except
And it
for
all draws back to the
Hogan.
click.
So,
all right, let me ask you another question then. So you think DX would have been good if Hall and Nash would have stayed and it would have been Shawn, Hunter. The clique basically would have became DX. How you think that would have worked?
oh, that would have been.
That would have been jumping. It would have been perfect.
That probably been better than both.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it would have
That might have been the best
clique would
faction
became
ever.
DX
Yeah.
versus the NWO, and then they have their own
It's
thing.
crazy they never been a faction together.
They were just
But-
brothers that used to travel together and be back
but
together.
They use their power to, control the whole title scene.
Mhm.
So I think we're gonna take it there because what we can agree is we can agree to disagree on this one, but at the same time we both understand that both factions really were pivotal in shaping the wrestling world in the 90s.
Yeah.
And trickling into the early 2000s with this aggression and everything. It all goes back to NWO and D-Generation X. So we're going to take it from there, guys. We thank you very much for tuning in again. Like us, subscribe to us. Why wouldn't you? Let's do
This
it.
or this.